Hey, and welcome to the Izi Chinchay show. And that opportunity kind of came to me because I was always asking, please let me join a team, like I know I'll crush it. But it was actually my older brother, Jack, who sat down with both my parents and were like, guys, you're kind of missing the mark. I am so pumped that you tuned in. My goal with the show is to inspire and motivate you to the best of my abilities. I believe our world needs more leaders, and I believe that you, my listener, are a leader, and that you have the opportunity to impact your community and family by simply being you. I truly am here to try and serve and offer value to your life. And if you enjoy the show, it would mean the most to me if you could please either rate, subscribe, or share the show with anyone who you think might benefit from listening. Together, we can make this world a better place. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you love today's episode. Welcome. Today I'm going to be chatting about my whole soccer experience, and specifically 6 of the major hurdles that I had to overcome in my soccer journey to get me to the place that I wanted to be, which was ultimately playing Division I soccer. So the first thing that I had to overcome was playing opportunity, or lack of playing opportunity, due to being homeschooled. Yes, I was homeschooled growing up. And because I was homeschooled, I had some limitations in the sense of resources and teams and what I could play for and play on. So my whole growing up, the main way that I learned to play soccer was at a park with friends, with family, and cones. We literally just would use water bottles and shoes and literally whatever we could find to make up soccer goals. And that is how I learned how to play soccer. And it wasn't until I was 14 years old that I got the opportunity to play club soccer. And that opportunity kind of came to me because, I was always asking, please let me join a team, like I know I'll crush it. But it was actually my older brother, Jack, who sat down with both my parents and were like, guys, you're kind of missing the mark. You are wasting her talent. Let her join a team. And because of that, I was able to join a team and start playing soccer for a club, which was exactly what I needed to kind of move me forward and prepare me to be able to play at my high school, which when I played at my high school, I still was technically homeschooled. So I was doing something called independent study, but at least I was still on the team. But it was good for me to get that experience of actually kind of playing at a higher level, not just at the park or rec or with friends. The second obstacle that I faced was my sophomore year. I had a quad tear. So my only year that was like no injuries, nothing, everything was going smooth was my freshman year. And my freshman year was awesome. I made varsity, I was a starter, I was a striker, and I felt like everything was going my way. It's going the way that I wanted it to. But then on my 5th game of the season in high school, sophomore year, I ripped my quad in half. We're not fully in half, but a major tear, to this day, you can see it. It's like there's a dip in my quad. It's not together and it will never be together. If you're listening to this, I'm making a sign with my hands explaining the dip in my quad. So that was the first major injury that I face. And still to this day, if I push it hard, if I do some quad work, I will literally feel it in my quad. And it has been almost 10 years since I had that injury. And that injury was devastating because it took so long to heal. And in the healing process, I had bad direction from certain doctors and certain physical therapists, and I had a coach who was overplaying me, and we just prolonged this injury, and it seemed like it took so long. I had to sit out games. I hated sitting out. I still hate sitting out from something. It was a really tough time. I would cry about it all the time. I couldn't understand, why is this not getting better? And it just sucked. I was really devastated about the whole process, but Eventually, after like a year and a half, I finally started to heal it. And I was like, okay, I got this. This quad is starting to heal. We're moving forward. I'm starting to gain momentum. I was super, super excited. And then I tore my right ACL. So literally about a month after being like, okay, the quad is better. We're healing. We're moving forward. I tore my ACL. And so if you've had an ACL tear, you know that like that is a pretty devastating injury, and it can be a career-ending injury for some. It takes about like an entire year to get back to like where you were. You can get back into stuff about pretty actively around 6 to 9 months, and then like to get your rhythm and really get a flow, it literally takes about 12 months. So it's a brutal injury. So that was obviously very devastating. It happened shortly after, but I stayed in it in all the ways that I could and knew that I wasn't giving up. I was going to stay committed. So after I started to rehab from there, came back, started doing well, got back into season, I actually got an offer, my first Division I offer, to play at Sacramento State. And unfortunately, because I had been homeschooled and because I had did independent studies, so this is like the fourth obstacle, I think, or third. So we had the quad tear, the ACL tear, and then another, and the original, not playing club. So yeah, this was number 4. So the fourth obstacle was the fact that I was homeschooled and did not have the proper skill, like the proper classes, proper curriculum to move forward and actually accept my scholarship at Sac State. So that, of course, was incredibly devastating. So I had to think really quickly. I had 2 options. I either had an option to basically take every single class that I hadn't taken, which is like high level AP everything, and cram it in a year and a half. So the rest of my junior year and then my whole senior year. Or I could try and graduate immediately and get the units that I needed as a gray shirt, which if you don't know what a gray shirt is, you're taking under the unit, so your playing time hasn't started, and you just get your associate's degree, and then you're eligible to transfer to any school if you have your associate's degree. And I knew in that time, I was like, I struggled so hardcore academically. Like, academics were not a thing. If you follow me, if you know my story, like, I am dyslexic. You see spelling errors all over my page. I don't try and hide it. That's who I am. That's, something unique about me and makes me who I am. That's part of me. That's part of my makeup. So I knew that about myself, though, and I knew I was going to struggle so hardcore with the academics. If you're someone who struggles with school, it's like, I feel you. That was me. It made me sick. So in a couple of days, I made the decision. I was like, I would rather just try and graduate very quickly and then start taking these classes and moving on. So that's what I did. I was like, all right, I got 1 year. I can join in the summer. I could take all the classes, and then I'll be good to go and I can transfer. So that's what I did. And during that time, my quad injury was actually still flaring up. My knee was actually doing fairly good. The quad injury was flaring up. I had this opportunity. I was like, okay, you're going to graduate. You're going to work and train 1 more year on your own and then go transfer and take your scholarship at Sac State. And that just didn't seem like, I didn't want to have a whole year of just like training on my own. I was like, I need to be with a team. I needed to get out of my hometown. I was like, I am ready for a change. So I then kind of put it out there. I'm not even sure how it got out there, but I was like, all right, I'm going to play at a junior college. And I had coaches reaching out to me, went on a couple of visits to these community colleges in the area. If you don't know what a community college is versus like a state or UC, like a community college is where you do your first 2 years. And the really cool thing, I'm a big proponent of this because I'm so passionate about helping players transfer and stuff, is in about, I think it's 33 states, the first 2 years of your community college are free. You get free tuition. So I'm like, hell yes, let's do that. That's a smart move. So I ended up landing an offer to play at Folsom Lake Community College. So I was like, all right, let's go. At least I'm here. So the thought was, I'll play there for 1 year and then I will finish my associates and then I will transfer to Sac State. That was like the loose thought. At this point, I'm still a striker in the journey. So I get there. Oh my gosh, it was a crazy ride because I moved into a house that I was just so not prepared to move into. Right when I got there, I was like the most very sheltered, very religious, upbringing, all the things, and moved into an absolute party house. And like, I like to have a good time. I have a couple drinks or whatever, but I'm not a partier. I've never been a partier. I've never liked it. So it was a terrible experience. I did not, I handled it the best I could. I was still 17 when I moved to that house. And I think like the oldest girl in that house was like 21. And that age difference, just, it doesn't mix well. There's a lot of things I wish I would have done differently and just tried to be kinder and more loving to the people that I moved in with. But overall, it was a very, very growth period. Like, I learned a lot during that time, and we ended up getting evicted from that house from partying. And I was so bad. I did not enjoy that. It was a tough time, but it was a good time because I learned, and that's what it comes back to. So I would go to this community college. I start playing, and my quad is not working. So my quad injury still that I have from high school is messing up my leg, and I'm just not able to perform. And so I talked to the coaches, and they're like, hey, we think you should redshirt. We're dealing with this injury. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is devastating. Like, I had an offer to play at a Division I school, and now I'm going to redshirt at a community college. Like, to me, it was personal, and it was hurting my pride. So I felt like it was kind of the end of the world. I was like, all right, I'm going to be the best redshirt that you have. I'm going to slay. And I actually, instead of even redshirting, decided to gray shirt. Okay. So I decided to not even start my clock. I started to take under 12 units, which if you take under 12 units, first of all, that was really good for me because I still was not academically prepared for like anything really. I had to figure it all out on my own. So that was also another good thing. I was just taken care of in the whole way. So I took under the 12 units. I stayed at 11 units, and I was like, all right, I'm a redshirt now. So I'm training as a redshirt, pushing it, going all out. I'm like, I'm going to be the best. And the quad is not getting better. We bumped me down to like a different training schedule. So I'm only like hardcore training like 2 days. I'm doing rehab the other 3 days. And I'm just starting to like mentally tank. I'm like, this is terrible. Like, I can't believe this quad injury is still holding me up. Like, what is the deal? Like, why can we not make this work? And eventually I had to have a meeting with a trainer, and he was like, I think you need to switch positions. So this is obstacle number 5. The quad tear comes back. He's like, I think you need to switch positions. And I was like, what, like defense? And he's like, yeah, I think like if you're a defender. And I literally knew, I was like, there is no way I'm going to go any less hard as a defender. Like, there's just no way. It's not in my blood. That's not who I am. I'm going to try and destroy wherever I am on the field. And in that moment, it was like a Jesus moment. The lights coming down, everything. I feel God say to me so clearly, you're going to be a goalie, switch to goalie. And I was like, okay, all right, I guess I'm going to be a goalie. If you're not a soccer player, you really, like, you don't, like, the difference between a goalkeeper and a field player is insane. Like, it's 2 different worlds, okay? I love all my goalies that I train. I'm happy that I got to experience that. But in my mind, like, being a goalkeeper, like, it's still, I don't even understand some of my players who still want to be a goalkeeper. You got to sit in the goal and just have people nail, like, it's a tough game to play. So I still have so much respect for everyone who wants to be a goalkeeper and enjoys that sport. So I went straight to my coach's office. Him and the assistant coach were chatting. I was like, hey guys, I need to tell you something. I need to switch position. I'm going to switch to goalie. I think that's what I need to do. And they were just like, I think it was one of 2 things. Either they're like, all right, she's tanking. We're going to lose her. Like, anyways, we'll see if this works, and then we'll cut her if not. Or they just had a lot of belief in me athletically, which is possible. It could have been the 2. I still don't know, and I've never asked. I never really wanted to know the answer to that question. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to switch goalie. And they were just like, okay. So I texted the goalkeeper coach, and I said, hey, I'm going to be a goalkeeper tomorrow. I'm going to come train with you and see how it goes. And he was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm the striker. So I had been working with him because the strikers sometimes work with the goalkeepers so they can get the shots off and everything. And I was like, all right. So I go to the session, and I'm just like diving, trying to do, I have no form, no technique, but I'm just like, I will not fall behind, and I will not like let this get in my way. I will do this. I'm going to make this happen. And the thing about goalkeeper, if you're not used to playing, you have no idea how to dive. You don't know how to protect yourself. You don't know how to fall correctly. So it's painful. And we were on turf, which I think is like even more painful. But I was like, okay, I got this. I'm locked in. I am going for it. So I did. And that night my goalkeeper coach reached out to me. I love Chris. Shout out to Chris. And he was like, hey, I just want to let you know today when you were training and there was 2 other goalkeepers in me. He said, I didn't see 2 goalkeepers and a field player today. He said, I saw 3 goalkeepers. Let's do this. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I was like, all right, that's the switch. So as soon as I made that switch, I was like, I'm all in. I'm committed. I'm going to be the best goalkeeper. So that spring I switched, and in a couple of months, I kind of gained the starting position. And my first game I played in, I started and we played against, my first game we played against Reno, Nevada. I played the second half. I played the first half. I think I played the first half. And I think I got a shutout, so that was awesome. And then my second game that we played against Cal Poly, and which is a good university out in California. Had a great experience, got to play them. I played the first half, clean sheet, and then second half, I think I let one in. But it was just a good experience, and I was like, okay, I am in this. I just competed with 2 Division I schools. We had a good outcome. I've only been doing this for like 6 months. I can do this. So then it was like balls to the wall, training, gearing up, focusing in on everything, training nonstop that spring, going all out, summer, training all out. And then the fall came and I had a great season. I got to play that full season, balled out. I got like all conference, still at my community college. I was like, all right, things are looking good. Talked to the coaches. They're like, hey, let's have you play next season too. And I was like, sounds good to me. I'll still have, my 2 years of eligibility to play. So we wrap up the season, go into spring season, we're training, and I decided to go play. I start playing a little bit of semi-pro, and I'm playing for the semi-pro team as a goalie. But they knew that I could be a striker. So there's this game, and they're like, hey, can you go score for us? Because we're tied, 0-0. We need a goal. I was like, all right. So I go and I score. And then I let the greed come in, and I scored another goal, and then I scored another goal, and I was like, okay, what if I got 4 goals, though? This would be pretty nice. Should have subbed out. 100% should have subbed out. But everything happens for a reason. And in that game, I received my 6th major obstacle, which really I'm realizing there's way more than 6, actually. I tore my left ACL. And I just remember that moment so clearly. I was like, oh my gosh, like what have I done, basically? And I remember feeling like, man, I just let my team down. We had trained the whole fall together, had a good season. We knew we were building up in the spring. We were going to crush the fall again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just tore. I can't believe I did this. I just tore my left ACL, and I knew it immediately. People came on the field and they were like, what happened? What happened? And I was like, I just tore my left ACL. And they're like, no, you didn't. I was like, yes, I did. I was like, I know I did. Obviously, it's excruciating. But the first thing that came out of my mouth when I had that injury was thank you. I literally said, thank you, Jesus. Because I knew that even though that sucked so bad, like that's exactly what I needed. Because every challenge, every injury that I had faced, everything that had happened so far had only made me a better human. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Let's go. All right. And so then I had to come back from that entire, it was terrible because I had to call my coach and tell him, and then I had to tell him that I was playing semi-pro and I wasn't really supposed to be doing that. And he was just like, what the heck? And I was like, yeah, very sorry. It was not good. It was brutal. But then it was like back to the grind. Like, okay, we're back in it. We're getting better. We're going to rehab. We're going to do all the things. During this time, I also was like, wow, I really hate being a goalkeeper so bad. I knew that deep down in me. I was like, I hated being a goalkeeper, but I couldn't let go of the dream. I was like, I can't let go of this dream. Like, it's my destiny. I am supposed to play D1 soccer. I know it. I know it in my heart. And it was just a tough time navigating all those feelings of being like so committed to this dream, but also hating what I was doing. And I thought about leaving the sport many times. I was like, should I leave? Should I not leave? I don't know. No, I have to stay committed. So I came all the way back and I was like, all right, I'm feeling good. I joined the spring season for the community college again. And I'm like, I have to keep going. I have to see this out. I can't let up. So I get back into it and things are going well very quickly. I actually got a couple offers. I got some invites to UC Irvine. I got a small offer from UC Riverside. Didn't take that because it wasn't a big enough offer. I didn't want to go into debt. But I started being like, okay, this is good. We're back in it. We're going to play a spring. I'm going to play the fall. And then I'm going to be ready to go. Like, and I'll be able to transfer and everything. But this was spring of 2020. So I just got back. I'm just now like, finally, I've overcome all these things. I've been like literally obstacle after obstacle. I've been climbing this year after year, injury after injury. And then COVID happens. And I'm like, oh my gosh, our whole season gets shut down. I can't talk to any of the colleges. Like, it's over. It's like, it's done. I have to go home. We're not training at all. In like one day we have a meeting with a team that's like, hey, we're shut down. We're completely shut down. Season's over. Spring season's over. And then as it drags on, it's like, now the fall season's over and all this stuff. And I was just like, is this not like the ultimate sign that like, I shouldn't be doing this anymore? Like, I don't know. I've had to go through so much, but I was like, I still just had this in me. Like, no, I can't give up. I can't give up. So I trained every single day. I stayed committed every single day. I kind of fell off with the community college. I just couldn't do the virtual thing. It wasn't working for me. And I should have left sooner. I kind of dragged it out. It's a regret that I have. I should have immediately said, hey, I'm not going to be a part of this virtually. I know I'm not going to serve to the best of my abilities. It's just not the way that I flow. But instead I kind of dragged it off, slacked off, and then had to tell them, like, I can't do this. This obviously is not working for me. Not a virtual athlete. It's not for me. But I think it was good for some of the athletes. Like, they could stay in it that way and everything. And then during that time, I got an offer to a Division II school in California. And I was like, well, it's like a full ride, like, or full academic. Yeah, full academic and some help. I don't know. So I think it's just full academic. But I was like, okay, all the tuition's paid for. Move out there, continue the career. And then I actually moved to that area. I didn't sign with the school or anything like that because it wasn't like around the time of signing. And somebody in me was like, dude, you can't do this. You can't settle. Like, you said you were going to go D1. You said you were going to go D1. And I was like, I did say I was going to go D1. I was like, I'm going D1. I am going all out. One more time, I'm going all out. I am going to get a Division I offer. And during this time, I got multiple opportunities and offers, but then injuries and all these things had come up. So that's why I feel like it's so beautiful that it happened, because now I feel like I know the recruitment game so well. I'm like, I would get the offer, get in, and then have to start over. So I'm like, I just did this so many times. I know exactly how to do this. So I was like, okay, I'm getting an offer. The thing is, I was in California. Everything was shut down. I was like, I know I will not succeed virtually. That's just not for me. So I said, where are they playing? Get on my laptop, start looking. I figure out in Tennessee. They're open, they're playing. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, they just don't have masks on, like, all the time. Like, okay, I can do that. And then I ended up talking to my two best friends. They were down to move, everything like that. I was like, okay, I'm hitting up every single Division I school in Tennessee, because that's where I know I'm moving to, and more specifically middle school. And that's what I did. I hit up every single school, and I sent them an email. I sent them my highlight reel. I let them know who I was, where I was coming from, my situation, and the stars aligned. I got an offer. And it's still something I'm so proud of. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of like what I had to overcome to even make that happen, that I stayed in the game. I stayed in the game despite all those obstacles. And so I got the offer, and I was like, all right, we're moving out. Well, I think it was like I got the offer in like 4 weeks, or like I got the offer, and then like 4 weeks later it was moving out, because I was going to be a part of their spring season. And, you know, I still was in such an internal conflict, because I did not like being a goalie. I never wanted to be a goalie, but I couldn't give up the dream. I couldn't give up the identity of being a soccer player, which is the thing I'd worked for my entire life. I was like, this is who I am. I have dedicated every single piece of me, every single piece of my life to overcoming these challenges so that I can continue down this road of playing soccer, of being an athlete, of being a college and high level soccer player. Like, that's what I want to do. That was my dream. I couldn't give it up, but I didn't like being a goalie, but I had to because of my injuries. So I arrived, I'm very grateful for the opportunity. Things did not go well right off the bat. I got COVID. Like, there was a lot of turbulence. And then I got in a rhythm and I started playing. I feel like I started getting it. I started playing good. I was like, I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling like I'm going to be able to show up and put out. Like, I'm living the dream. Like, this is what I've always wanted to do. This is it. I wanted to go D1. And part of me was just like so sad and so broken because I knew it's not what I actually wanted. I didn't want to be a goalie. I didn't want that. I wanted to be a striker. That was my passion. That's why I'd been in the game, because I love scoring goals, not stopping them. But circumstances I had to be able to pivot into this position. And I started realizing, like, wow, I am super depressed. I started doing well. I started playing well, improving all the things. And I felt like I could have a career afterwards. I was like, I can do this. I can go all in. But I realized I was so miserable. And so I started like listening to certain podcasts and books. And I actually read Abby Wambach's book Forward, or listened to it. And she's someone who's like at the top of women's soccer. Like, she went all the way. But listening to her book, I realized like she battled with depression and drug abuse or alcohol abuse and like wasn't well, but she achieved it all. And I was like, do I want that? Do I want to just stay in this, achieve this dream and be miserable? And I was like, no, I do not. So I made a commitment to myself. I said, all right, for the rest of the season, you will go all out. You will do everything right. You will commit to every single team rule, everything. You will do it perfect. You will train your ass off no matter how you're feeling, no matter what it is. And like, it was hard. Like, but I was like, I'm going to bring the good energy to the team. I'm going to serve this team. I'm going to work my hardest. I'm going to try and bring the good vibes. I will fully commit. And if at the end of the season, not halfway through, not when it's hard, at the end of the season, if I am still feeling this miserable and not enjoying what I'm doing, I will officially walk away from the sport. I will officially retire. And like, I had thought about that so many times for like years, honestly. Well, years. I've only been playing for like 3 years of goalie. But during that whole time, and actually, even during my quad injury as a forward, I was like, do I need to walk away? Like, is there why is this not healing? And after the ACL and everything, but I was finally like, no, actually, I've done it. I've done all the things. If I'm not happy, we're walking away after this. And so I did. I played out the season, and then the very last game, got an opportunity, got a save. I couldn't have been better way to like end. It would have been kind of crappy if I would have like let a goal in and been like, all right, I'm done. But yeah, I remember that game ending and I was like, I just started sobbing hysterically because I was like, I'm actually closing this chapter. And then I knew I was ready. And so I had to have the coaches meeting and let them know, like, hey, I'm not playing, which is typically surprising, like, to have a player come and just be like, hey, I'm done. But, it was a good interaction. I'm very grateful for, MTSU and the program and the opportunity that I had. That was such a hard decision to make. It was so hard, but it was the right decision. I knew it was the right decision. And then after that, I like hid for a year. I deleted all my social media. I had like this whole identity breakup and like tried to figure out who I am, how I'm going to show up in the world. Now I feel like so blessed because it all happened for me, and it's all like, now I get to help all these other athletes get recruited and play in college. It's like so beautiful, and I'm so grateful for the experience, but it was painful. It was hard, but it taught me invaluable lessons, like so many invaluable lessons. But I really just wanted to share that with you, share my soccer journey. So, wherever you are in your journey, whether it's soccer or not, like, just because something isn't working out doesn't mean it's not for you. And even more so, like, every time something doesn't go your way, it's going to benefit you in the long run, because you're going to become such a better person. For every injury, every obstacle, I have become better. I have literally become a better person. It's like, obstacle, Izzy gets better. Obstacle, Izzy gets better. So you actually start to like look forward to the hard thing, because it's what you need to move forward. So thank you so much for listening. you can always connect with me on Instagram. I'm very open to it, and I'll talk to you later. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you could share this episode with 5 people you think could benefit from the show. Also, please feel free to connect with me on Instagram at Izi Chinchay or my website at izichinchay.com. Thank you so much for being you. Keep being a leader and making this world a better place.